All right, welcome everybody to another episode of our Puget Systems podcast live Q&A show. This week we're joined by Gabriella, aka Feeding Wolves on Instagram and YouTube. That's her main source is a YouTube channel, Feeding Wolves, and also from last week as well, Kelly, our internal Unreal 3D game development expert. So I'm really excited about this one because it comes hot on the heels of the topic we were talking about last week, MetaHumans, and also in general, virtual production, motion capture, and all those sorts of awesome content creation topics. I'm really excited about this today. So just to start, Gabriella, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a quick little intro and some background on who you are and what you do.
Okay. I'm Gabby. I'm Feeding Wolves. Hi, Mom, if you're going to see this later. Hi to everybody that's joining. Thank you so much for your support. Actually, like most of the people in the chat have helped me get to where I am today. I have been learning Unreal Engine for a few months. I'd say like almost 7 months. And I was basically trying to learn virtual production. I didn't even know what virtual production was. And Matt Workman actually broke it down really, really well. He broke it down into like 3 categories, all in engine, mixed reality, and then your LED walls. So I fall into the category of all in engine.
Okay.
And up until a few months ago, I didn't even know what motion capture was. And now I am using all these really amazing tools that involve motion capture and combining them in Unreal Engine to create content. And at the same time, try to make some decent tutorials to empower this community, just like the people that are in the chat help me do. Sorry, my dog's going a little crazy over there. I don't know what's going on.
That's okay.
There's a good chance that same thing will happen with Houston and my dogs. Like, yeah. mine does sleep on the floor at the moment, but we'll see.
Right on. Well, that's pretty cool. So I'm curious, and this is a little basic, but what caught your eye with virtual production and then motion capture as well?
Okay, so before this, I got my degree in psychology back in 2007, and as soon as I got this fancy degree, the recession hit and I couldn't find a job with it. So I got a job in the restaurant business, and I've been working as like a bartender server for like the past 10 years and doing film on the side. Okay. And then when the pandemic happened, I was like, you know what? I'm like, this is my opportunity to fully commit. So I started learning After Effects. I had just learned After Effects. I had been using Premiere for a while and like doing videography stuff on the time that I was off of work, which was like 2 days a week and like anytime after 1 a.m. So finally I was like, okay, I have this time. And there's this one director that I really, really have dreamt of working with. And on his LinkedIn, they had a job listing and they said, we're on the bleeding edge of virtual film production. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I need to do it. And I need to get really good at it. Yeah. So I found Matt Workman's Facebook group, and someone had asked, like, how do I learn virtual production? And he was just like, install Unreal Engine and learn it. That's a good start. So I was like, cool, let me start learning this. And I got a computer for it. And that was the first investment, was getting a computer. I was a Mac girl. So I had no idea what a graphics card was in video. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't know what this is. So I started trying to learn Unreal Engine, and all I could find was these gaming tutorials. And actually I got my first win after like a month of like building these levels. And I was like, I don't know how people are going to make films with this. I found a tutorial by JS Films on how to key out a green screen video in Unreal. And after I was like, oh my God, like this guy gets me, he mentioned Jonathan Winbush. And I will not forget this. I found a tutorial by Jonathan Winbush where in like 30 minutes, we used an HDRI taken from Mars that Hugh Ho made. He actually got from like the InSight or Perseverance. I don't know. Like, I don't remember, but he removed the rover and we imported this HDRI, and I learned how to like install Quixel Bridge, how to use the landscape tool, how to like import characters, how to do it all in like 30 minutes. And I'm like, I've been doing this for like a month and I haven't had to spend. But the first time I saw a filmmaker make a film with Unreal Engine was Has, and that was on Razer website. And I was like looking at this stuff that I'm making. I'm like, how is someone going to make a film? So I found Has, and he was the first filmmaker to make an entire film in Unreal. And the first time I saw him, I was like, my dream is to work with this guy. Like, I know it's just a dream, but like, that's my dream. And now I'm actually working with him, which is kind of
cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, neat. So that actually brings up a great kind of segue into. So you are working with Has now on just before the stream. You described it as a kind of a combination Akira meets The Raid, a fully 3D animated feature-length film. Without getting into the content part of it, because I know that's probably hush hush as it is with a lot of films. How does that work? Because as I understand it, Has is in London, you're in Florida. There's quite a bit of 6-hour difference in the day. So how do you guys work together?
So he is honestly, like, I'd say he is the independent filmmaker that I think he's got it all figured out. He's directing, producing, writing. He's doing all the shots. So I'll tell you how it works. And we do all of this remotely. So I have the Extends Link suit and I got the Manus Prime 2 gloves. And what I do is, so he sends me a list of mocap data. He's like, Gabby, we're going to be doing this scene. Now I've read the script. I know like who I'm playing. I'm playing like almost every single character in this film. And there's a lot of characters. So,
cool.
So he'll send me a list at night, like his time. And then by the time he wakes up the next day, I've recorded the mocap. Like, I'll get it. I'm like, okay, let me do this. Let me get into it. I'll record the mocap. I'll clean it up in Extends. And then I use the, we have like 2 pipelines we're using and we're kind of developing as we go along. So I can either record the data directly from Extends inside of Unreal on the characters using LiveLink, or I can import FBX, like for, crazy walk cycles and stuff where you really need to like perfect the data there. So yeah, I will get these crazy lists. Like today, you are like doing this, and you're going to be throwing this, and you're getting punched, and and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, my mom probably thinks I'm crazy, but so he'll send me the list. I'll do all of this mocap. I'll retarget it in Unreal, and then I'll just send him the little UE asset files, and he just drops it into his project, and then he is working on his film. So,
wow. Is there any trouble with I guess direction, like or like redos and things like that? How is that troubling at all?
Okay, so I do like to give him some options. Like if I'm not sure, I'm like, well, is the wall on this side or that side? I'm like, I'll just do both. But there's some complicated scenes, yes. And as we go further, so we do Zoom where he can see what's going on in Extends. And we're actually going to be showing a little bit of how we're using the motion cloud with Extends to do a lot of this, where he can actually see the data as I'm recording it, when I'm cleaning it up. But yeah, that way he can like see me. He's like, okay, Gabby. He's like, I need you to like, walk this way, or I need you to like throw it there. And yeah, there's some stuff where he has to direct me because I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what?
Yeah.
You want me to do what? Like, he's like, here, can I show like on the screen what you look like? I'm like, no, I look like a crazy person.
It's got to be a bit of a trip, especially if you're playing most everything. How do you, I guess, like play off of yourself in some of that?
Like,
as far as
I no acting school. Like, I guess like my time in the restaurant industry, I got to like learn about people and observe people. And, and I've watched a lot of movies, obviously. So, yeah, it just kind of comes, you like kind of just know what to do.
Okay. All right. That's pretty cool. You've mentioned the Extends thing a little bit. I know I've seen like they have like the full body suit, but is that kind of what you're working with, or is it something a little different?
Okay, so they have two suits. Okay, they have the Awinda, and actually JS Films has a really good video on that on his page, on his YouTube page. But basically, you get several straps, like kind of like Velcro straps, okay?
Mhm.
And you just turn them on, and then you put them like on all the parts of your body that like need to have sensors. And then it's completely wireless. So you just like put in a dongle in your computer, open up Extends, and you're good to go. Like it's I got to test that out. I actually have access to one right now, and it's honestly like it's really comfortable. Like you can just like wear your clothes. You get like this cool Extend shirt and like this cool head strap, and they send you this too. I know people are like,
Oh,
green guy, yeah.
Yeah.
They send you cool stuff. They're really cool, and they pretty much walk you through how to get everything to work. I think that's the most important thing about why I like Extends is actually the service. The people. Like you could have a great suit, and they make sure you know how to use it. But I also have the link, and that's what I'm using for Haz's film. So the link is a full body suit. I kind of prefer that because I don't need to put all the strap. I could just put the suit on. I always tell Haz, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go suit up now, you know? And he's like, oh, that sounds so cool. So he's like, it sounds like Superman or something. I'm like, yeah, that's it. So yeah, I love the suit. It gives you really good quality, and you can literally just go straight into Unreal and see what your character looks like in real time. But honestly, I think it's why I became like obsessed with Extends was the people. Like I have to say thank you to Katie Jo at Extends because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for her. And like most of the people in this chat, yeah, she's moved mountains for me. And people at vocab companies, they don't treat you like that. You're customer. For me, they treat me like family, you know. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got a window. I'm like, okay, I'll take a new car.
Nice. So Kelly, I don't want to dominate everything. If you got anything if you want to jump in with, go ahead.
I'll jump in when I have something.
Oh, okay. Because I'm curious. So before, because the Extends thing might be a little hard for just your average Joe to. You don't just run off to Best Buy and go pick up an Extend suit.
No,
so
you don't.
So how before you got into that side of things, what sort of tools and software were you using?
Okay. Before the Extends. So I had literally just installed Unreal like a few months before that. I didn't know how to use like any 3D softwares at all. Like I had gotten to the point where I had just installed Element 3D and After Effects. Like that's where I was. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
So as soon as I installed Unreal Engine, I took the Jonathan Winbush course that he has on mograph.com. And I know it's like 10 hours. It took me like 3 weeks to take. But this taught me everything. Like complete newbie. This is like how good of a teacher he is. And there's a Cinema 4D section like halfway through there. And I was like, I'm so scared to like, I don't want to skip it, but I know nothing about Cinema 4D. I opened it once. I was like, this is scary. I'm leaving. And I actually, by the time I was done with the course, I was using Cinema 4D almost every day. I was using it like that. He showed me how to use a pipeline to get, from Cinema 4D to Unreal. And he also has a Discord channel with this amazing community that like dealt with my newbie questions. I think Hollowsman is in here. Yeah, he took the course too. So what I started with was Mixamo. Like that's what I started with. And I was like, whoa, like first time I saw Mixamo and it's free. Adobe has it, like you have to just set up an account. Mixamo is awesome. Like you can like bring in whatever character, it lets you rig your characters. And then there's like a pipeline that Winbush shows you on how to get your data inside of Unreal from Cinema 4D, how to import it into Unreal. So Okay, so I finished the course and I made this little video with some Mixamo animations.
Mhm.
And it was literally just like I just took everything I learned from the Windbush course and I just imported a Paragon character. I built a map and I actually used the topography map of my neighborhood. Okay, he's got a tutorial on that, right?
Oh,
Um,
neat.
and I built this whole module, and it's just like a Paragon character, like playing paper, rock, scissors with like part of this robot that's attached to her. And Manus mocap saw it, and they reached out, and they're like, "Would you like to test out these gloves?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, okay, whatever. I don't know what they are, but I would love to." So they sent me the gloves and I was like, oh my God, like I started looking up mocap and I was like, what is this? Like, what do I do? How do I create with it? Um, and then of course, you can only do so much with just the mocap gloves. So then I
Sure.
was like, all right, well, they're compatible with Extends. I'm kind of afraid to knock on that door because I know there's like Perception Neuron, there's Rococo, there's actually some Vive mocap setups that I was going to do. I was actually going to buy a bunch of Vive trackers and just make
Sure.
a mocap suit. And Matt Workman had like a blog on it. So I was like
Mhm.
taking notes. I was like, okay, I'm going to go for that. And I knocked on Extend's door and I was like, can I like test out your free software trial? Because I've been living off of those for a while. And they sent me like all these webinars of how to use their products.
Wow.
And that was like before I actually talked to them. They're like, here's a bunch of information, like consume it, and then we'll talk. And they in the videos, in all these videos, they have this lady named Katie Jo Turk, and
Mhm.
she knows the software and the link suit so well. And when you like listen to her talk about this equipment, you're like that enthusiasm, that excitement, like when you love something, I was like, oh my God, like I'm feeling what she's feeling. It's just that I don't know what mocap is. Like
Right.
so they had her in the first meeting that I had where I was talking about the software and I was like, they're like, she's gonna be in this meeting. And I was like, what? Like, oh my God, she's gonna know I don't know anything. So she walked me through everything, how to use the software. They sent me like and I think now they have like 3 versions of their software. They
Okay.
have like a free version, like a regular version, and like the full one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned how to use the software and I became obsessed. Like I learned what LiveLink was, and that was
Mhm.
it for me. And I got the suit, and yeah, I can't live without it. So uh, that's basically I went from Mixamo to like Extends. Like who does that,
Awesome.
right? Like
Yeah. It's like diving in the deep end for sure.
So the Mixamo that you said that was from Adobe.
Yeah, Mixamo.
Oh, I see. I see. Here we go. Got it. Cool. Let's share that out
Yeah,
with
those-
everybody there in the chat. That's cool.
I'm trying to research some of the different like suits, especially the gloves. The gloves are really cool because so I took some animation courses in college way back in the day. And like trying to do good hand gestures is just a nightmare. So like I can imagine any animator doing anything would probably benefit from the gloves, some of the suits to get some quick motion capture without having to go into a motion capture studio. Like, where else do you see these kind of new tools going?
Okay, so here's what I love about like virtual production is and I'm gonna quote my friend Rafa on this. All this new tech that's now become accessible to us. Like now that we have better graphics cards, now that we have access to all this like user-friendly gear, we're able to like as filmmakers and creatives, we're able to like take all of this, use it in a way that it puts all of the tools, I say it puts the tools in the hands of the creators. And that's actually my friend Rafa's quote, but he nailed it. Like
Mhm.
with Unreal, you can literally, and I heard this quote as well. I don't remember who told me, but I did hear the only thing holding you back with Unreal is your imagination. And we're at a point where I'm literally helping and working on a full-length action anime film remotely, and I'm not a big studio. Like I have,
Mhm.
I don't have Maya. I don't have a team of like people like who know motion builder and like VFX. It's just me, and same with like all these like small independents. Like they're like knocking out some incredible content that it would take an entire studio, a whole team of people to make, and they're making it
For
in like
sure.
2-3 days. Like that's
Yeah.
insane. So yeah, that's where we're at. I mean, it's
I love it.
right.
Yeah. We work with Corridor Digital, it's one of our other big partners for the past several years. And they have their first fully virtual production video coming out on
Tomorrow.
Saturday, I think.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Is
So
it
that's pretty
tomorrow,
exciting.
really?
Yeah. So it's going to be 100% virtually done. They've shown off suits in the past. Like they've been
Mhm.
using a lot of these different techs in different ways. Usually like incorporating into the traditional pipeline with like record the motion data and then go into Maya or Cinema 4D, clean it up and put it into the rest of the stuff. But yeah, this is gonna be the first like full virtual production. I'm pretty excited to see what they have in store.
Yeah, I saw them on the Extends webinar last month.
Yeah.
And you know who else is really cool? Corey I'm gonna butcher his name because people butcher my name all the time. I think it's Corey Strasburger, I think.
Mhm.
He made a lot of those like baby Yoda Unreal Engine videos, and it's
Mhm.
literally just him. He's like, yeah, I made that in like a day and a half, 3 days. I
Yeah.
made characters. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
I'm curious. So early on, what were some of the things that kind of got in the way, or either like technical, either like the hardware side or the software?
Okay, you do need hardware. You need a computer with an NVIDIA graphics card. Like, I thought I was going to be able to do this on a Mac, and like that was just I was too afraid of the PC world. And now that I got my taste of it, I'm like never like I have my Mac for my emails. Cool, right?
Mhm.
But the obstacles were finding educational content, finding the knowledge base. Like I had a dig for JS Films tutorials. I had a dig for Winbush.
Mhm.
And the demand, like literally after I did his tutorials, like I know JS Films has like a course now on this. Okay. I wish like 6 months ago that existed. And then when Winbush came out with it, I was like, people need to know because you have so many people who are like creatives like myself who like, come from like After Effects or motion graphics. And they're like, well, where do I start? Like, teach me. I don't want to know how to like build a game level. Like, even though that's important, show me how to create with this.
Mhm.
Show me, like I learned from Mixamo how to work with animations, how to like retarget the animations to characters. And then there's all these like resources. Like, okay, biggest obstacle was not giving up. And yeah, I don't have experience. I don't know what 3D is. I don't know what like XYZ is. I don't know what any of this stuff is. And these
Mhm.
guys have been doing it for years. Like there's no way. I don't stand a chance. But they helped me, you
Yeah.
know? So it's an amazing community. So you have no
Mhm.
excuse to not be creating with it right now. You have no excuse not to learn. They are making the tutorials now. Now you have like a plethora of them.
Sure.
So
Mhm.
and then the other obstacles, oh yeah, it's like, what do I want to create today? Like that is one of my biggest things. I'm like, what do I want to make? What's a good idea? Like yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. That's so. Especially, I think you hit on a good thing there too about the educational content, especially with new tools being released fairly quickly. And like it's like almost every month something different, something new is being either added to the Unreal Engine or some
Mhm.
third-party tools. And in particular, the one that comes to mind recently, we were just talking about, is the MetaHumans thing, which is well, it strikes me as a lot more of like face animation than like body character style. And what are your thoughts on that and the future of tools like that?
Okay, that was one of my obstacles. I finally got the gloves, I got the bodysuit, and I was like, all that's left is the face.
Mhm.
And I went like 2-3 months with not being able to find like a high quality rig with built-in blend shapes. And
Mhm.
I wanted to test out the Apple AR kit. I tested it out with the Meerkat project, which was awesome. But that was the one thing that was missing in the storytelling. You know, the gloves like really add a lot of like, they add so much to the story because like
Sure.
the mocap has like, you know, no finger data. But the face is so important. And
Mhm.
not only did did Epic deliver with rig that has good blend shapes, but they like went beyond. Like they went studio level, like the face
Mhm.
control rig board. Like what? Like up until recently, you could not create animations inside of Unreal. Like you could only composite them. But with
Mhm.
Control Rig, you can actually create animations, which is kind of crazy. Like you don't even need mocap, right? Like you can
Mhm.
literally hand animate it, and it's very intuitive as well.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, because before getting that kind of control rig for a face that deforms that well is weeks of an animator's time. Like that's after the character was modeled and ready to go. Like to get the animations, it was just in like a couple weeks. So
Wow.
yeah, this like, and that's of a highly skilled, very specialized skill set.
Wow.
Like for anyone to be able to get that quality, just export it and start animating is unbelievable.
That's neat.
Yeah, I have to give a shout out to like Alvaro Garcia in here. If he hears, he did a video with the MetaHumans, and I was like ready to throw my computer away. I was like, that was so good. Like he used the Apple AR kit. He like kind of modified it, like that's how good he is, right? He just by himself, like one guy took it, modified the Apple AR kit, and used an Xbox controller to like add like the brows to like really accentuate it. And if you
Mm,
see his video that he did, I think I sent you a link to it. It's absolutely insane. Like he captured emotion, like the
mm,
characters have emotion and passion, and like you
Wow.
see it, and you're thinking, oh my God, think of all the things you could do. Like, think of all the doors that just opened, that inspiration. The metahumans are like, they're a huge game changer. Like, literally, and they will put any good computer to a test. Like, you want to test
Mhm.
the computer out? Like, let's play with the metahumans in here real quick. Yeah, let's like hook up some live link. Let's hook up some
yeah.
mocap. Yeah. So it's definitely studio quality. And
Mm,
the opportunities for what you can create with that is boundless. Like,
yeah.
It's exciting. I definitely. I feel like I think I've said this before on different episodes, but I feel like we're right on the edge of a kind of a new explosion in independent like creativity. I remember kind of like the early 2000s when machinima was really starting to blow up. You had like red versus blue and that those sorts
Mhm.
of like kind of in-engine game stuff, or storytelling. And I feel like we're on the cusp of another sort of explosion in that sense, and it's really really exciting.
For sure. Like, because back then that was just like using your controller to move a character around and like working with camera angles to get a good storytelling. But now people can take a similar approach with the game engine, but just amplify everything to the next level. Now you have ray tracing too, so everything looks really good. You can um, do all these animations that you can just act out instead of like having to know how to control curves and your splines and everything. And um, yeah, it's really wild. Like I came from game design, so like I'm used to like games, and now seeing all this is like just it's been mind blowing. It's been so much fun going through all of Winbush's tutorials, trying to learn more.
That's really neat. I'm curious too. Thinking forward, where do you see the future of these sorts of technologies headed?
okay, so that's like a little. I hear people saying, "Oh my God, like what people are doing in Unreal Engine, like, am I going to lose my job? This and that." I'll tell you what. Like, I think there's a new generation of creatives.
Hmm.
Um, Another guy I want to mention is Fatty Bull. Okay, Bernard Ryder. I had learned all of this really cool stuff, right? I was like, cool, I got the mocap stuff, but I'm always trying to like step it up. Like I am self-taught. I didn't go to film school. Like literally, like YouTube has like raised me. Um, and he has a course, a cinematography course in Unreal Engine, and he used like this really cool map by like Unreal environments. It's amazing. It's like this really cool city map, and he talks about cinematography and storytelling. I think that is the next thing, is to like be able to kind of basically has is like the I would say has is kind of like the future of filmmaking, is being able to make films entirely inside of Unreal Engine. Like the less softwares you can use outside of it. Obviously, like you can customize your characters with like Blender, Maya, or whatever. You can rig them. You can do so much, but you already have all the tools. Just like think story, think cinematography, think of like principles of storytelling. At the end of the day, it's about content. You can be like a VTuber now, like you can do all this stuff, but for me, I am more interested in like the storytelling. Like I want to tell stories with it. And I feel like I'm like, well, maybe I don't need a big studio. I mean, it would help if I had all the help from a big studio, but their computers and stuff like that, that'd be great. But then again, you guys make really good computers, so that
It's true.
but I want to focus on like the storytelling and the filmmaking, and I want to see more courses like that once you've mastered all of this, like how do you make a short film and not just make it look good, but like capture a story, tell a story, like Alita Battle Angel, like that movie was so good, right? And I was like, oh my god, I wish I could do that. Well, you've got the MetaHumans now, like you could technically do it. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean that's a good point with the education, because like when I got into the game industry, there was probably 4 or 5 schools in the country that had programs for game design. And so I got into one of those. Now everyone has it. Like every single school has a game development thing. And I feel like the same thing's going to happen with filmmaking. Every filmmaking school is going to start integrating Unreal or some other, maybe Blender or whatever, into their curriculum to be like, this is now a tool in your tool bag to make a film. If you want to do it independent, if you want to do like ILM is using Unreal for various things, like it's just another tool to have. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot more better quality. Not that what's out there now is not good quality, but like those high level educational things for filmmaking specifically. And then also going back to your point about someone saying, is this going to impact someone's job, like losing someone's job? I was in when Epic did a MetaHuman like broadcast, like when they first released it and they had a live stream. There was someone in the chat that was like concerned about, well, like I'm studying to be a character artist. Like, what does this mean for me? Like, what am I going to do now? And like every single new tool that is released in this industry since the first video camera and people started making films has impacted someone's job in a way, but it just shifts what they do. Doesn't lay off people. It's like there's more filmmakers than ever out there. You still need to know what makes a good looking person, a good looking, interesting looking character. If it's your main character, you need to know all those same tools to make something interesting. Just because you can make a good looking character doesn't mean it's what you want. So I think like, yeah, it's going to impact you somehow, but it's just another tool in your box to make something that you want to make, to tell the story you want to tell.
Yeah. Well, and last week too, Kelly, you were mentioning that MetaHumans and still early access, still in development. There's massive improvements to be made, but it's still just like an entry point. There's still a lot of detail that you can't do, that you have to use other tools. Like you were saying, just even something as simple as like a scar or something isn't in that. Yeah. You got to add that later. And so, yeah, it's when we've talked about like RotoBrush 2 in Premiere. Oh, that used to be somebody's entire job, was to sit there and outline things and cut them out. And now you just boop and it's done. I don't think it's going to necessarily, that guy's not going to lose his job. But his job is going to change.
Yeah, he'll just be doing something else.
And
because like there's one thing that the film industry doesn't have a lack of is people. Like they need people. Like there's even now with virtual production and you have this big VR screen, like there's still so many people on the set doing everything. Like you still have a lighting artist. Like you still have someone setting up lights. You still need to do some green screen work, even though if you're filming on an LED wall, like there's still more work to be done. And like every tool makes like getting your final product faster. And whenever you do that to an artist, they just find new things to add to the project, and it still takes almost as much time. This is the same thing. It's speeding up the animation, but that just means now you can make the animation that much better because it's based off of your movements. You can now do more animations that maybe you wouldn't spend so much time doing custom animations on. You might, just buy some stock thing to do the background characters, but now you might maybe like, you know what, I want to make the characters run away in the background and do the crowds and stuff. Like it's another tool that makes doing more stuff faster.
Yeah, I like it. I'm curious too. This whole past year and a half with the pandemic stuff, all these lockdowns, I feel really gave a shot in the arm to these technologies. The necessity of having to do sort of this remote work, and fingers crossed it doesn't slow down. Gabby, do you think we're going to continue to see more kind of work how you and Haz are doing, this sort of completely disconnected sort of workflows?
So, all right. So there's it's only a matter of time before Unreal is fully integrated inside of the film industry. It's only a matter of time. Like it's 3 years, 5 years at some point. I think the pandemic kind of pushed it a little more. It kind of was like, all right, hurry up, because think about it. You can make changes in real time. Like you don't need to bring the whole crew in to change a map. You know what I mean? Like you can literally, and I've seen people do remote multi-user sessions where they can literally be in the same map at the same time. Honestly, I think we are going to see this is going to create, and I was talking to my friend Ratha about this because he's really big in film and storytelling. And he's actually worked more in the film industry than I have. And we were talking about this. What I think is what he thinks is going to happen, and I kind of agree with him, is you now are giving people like me, okay, with no formal training, all these tools to be able to create like if I have the right resources and enough time to learn it, studio quality stories, and it doesn't cost I look at a film budget and I'm like, oh my God, you could live like a whole family could live off of that for how many years? It's not going to cost as much, right?
Right.
Which means that everyone's going to have to step it up. Studios are going to have to step it up. Your imagination and your creativity is going to evolve. So maybe it's actually going to force us to evolve creatively. I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense, but I think we're all going to have to step it up. What we've seen, sure. We're going to want to see what we haven't seen. And right now we're what are we seeing? This is crazy. So it's only going to get crazier, and that's a good thing because you want things to get better. I'm always Avatar and Alita Battle Angel are the best films I've ever seen, as far as visually,
oh yeah.
Until you see something that's even better, right? That's exciting. That is what, that is part of what I love about this, besides how important telling stories is, because that makes changes in the world, but this is just going to change everything. It's going to change us creatively, and it might even change the way we imagine, where we won't put limits. I don't know. I have no idea. Are movies going to be in VR? I don't know. Are actors going to be scanned? Because now there's vocab. There's not just mocap.
Oh, sure.
Metric mocap, right? Where you can scan full bodies of people and, make them do whatever you want. That's what? So I think we are on the bleeding edge of virtual film production, and virtual film production is a huge umbrella of all of these tools. I'm just doing like a tiny part of it. You know, doing like, think of the guys who are using the green screen, who are using like, you know, VR to do like scouting, who are doing photogrammetry. Like, this is nuts. Like,
Yeah.
I can't keep up. I can't, you know.
It's hard.
I remember saying recently in the virtual production Facebook group, someone joined in and asked, can I get a tutorial on virtual production from start to end? And everyone's like, there's too many things. Like, you have to narrow that virtual production down, because you could do, like, some people use it for just previs, some people do full animations. Like, the sky's the limit with this stuff. And it's used in any number of different ways.
And it's hard to understand. It's hard to comprehend what it is. Like, it took me like a couple months, and then Matt Workman did a fellowship talk, and they finally released it on Unreal Learning. And he's like, all right, I'm going to break it down for you. He's like, there's 3 types of virtual production. These are the tools for all in engine. Obviously, mocap is a big one. These are the tools for mixed reality. Anytime you like plug in anything inside of Unreal that's external, like audio, like cameras and stuff, that's mixed reality. With green screens and keying stuff. And then you have like your big LED volumes. Like, he kind of broke it down. And for me, I was like, I get it now. Like, I get like where I fit into the picture. So for that guy, I would say like, we'll pick which type you want to do. And it depends on what you want to make. Because you could say I want to do full CGI, but what if I want to put a person in there? What if I want to be in there? You know, like, you're going to merge into a different tool set. So.
Wow. Do you have any advice, so all of these tools are so accessible, easy to use. It doesn't take too long to really dive in and learn and start creating whatever it is you want to create. So how do you stand out from the noise? There's going to be a lot of, just static and sort of not good content. So how do you make, even as a beginner, do you have any advice on how to stand out?
If you're able to make anything, I think like I would encourage people to just make stuff at this point. Just like learn, you know, there's so much to learn. I see like people doing stuff with the MetaHumans, and like the face mocap hasn't quite like been, I haven't seen it. I actually have not seen perfect facial mocap with the MetaHumans. Like, I've seen the demo that they did, and I'm like, that's the goal, right? But I would love to see it go even further, you know, which is kind of like why I'm like obsessed with face mocap right now. Like, I'm learning how to animate with the face controlling board. For me, it's the face. That is like, if you can get the face to move like Alita, like I use that as like my face. I'm like, if I can get it to work like that, I'm good. Like, I don't care what other people are doing. Like, I want to do it for me. You know, I'm not doing it for other people to look. I want to do it, you know, because I think this is so fun. I can't wait till I get back to it, you know? So that's, as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, like, who cares what people think, right? Yeah, and I'm sure, like, you look at some of my old stuff and I'm like, oh God, I can't believe I shared that. Like, it's so bad. But how do you stand out? Just be yourself, you know?
Okay. We do have a question from YouTube. Victoria Jorgensen asks, are more women entering the field?
I hope so. I really do. It's all guys. Like, it really is. I hope so. You know, I really do. So yeah, girls, you need to like get in here, you know, get a good computer. Start with that. Okay. Like all you need is a good computer, and then you just need imagination and time. And
I like that.
You know?
I hope that this kind of helps women get into the field, because from women I've talked to, there's a lot of kind of stigma about the field, the male dominated, it's kind of intimidating to get into this. But now if you can do it on your terms and in your pace and kind of do it your way, I think women will be able to reach out to each other, be able to set up a virtual production workflow where people are across the country, since they're maybe not in the same place. I would love to see some women dive into this and really make something cool. And this is like the tool and the time to do it.
Yeah.
I do feel like in the Facebook group, it's a lot of guys.
I guess so. I think that's definitely going to change, though. Like I
Yeah.
said, tools have become accessible to anyone. You don't need to work in a big studio to use them anymore. So you know that's going to change too. Who knows? You know,
Yeah.
there might be like a female James Cameron out there one day, right?
Mhm.
So who knows? Ah, your face. You're like,
I think it'd be cool. I love the idea of like Kelly was saying, you can work across the country, across the world, and there's in a lot of ways the world is smaller, right? You, like you said, you don't have to go to a big studio. You could literally just hang green sheets in your garage, and now you have your volume. You can and I'm so excited that we're right on this edge of amazing storytelling content of all sorts is just going to be. And I worry though about distribution. So basically it's like YouTube, and there's constant I see it all the time on Twitter and in different social media channels of how the algorithm is ruining this, and like I can't, like, you know, my audience isn't growing, or like, and I hope to see more channels of distribution for this content, because it feels a little gatekeepy now, because there's basically only the one place to put out video content.
Okay, that's an interesting point, and I think VR is an opportunity for content, because yeah, I mean, I don't even have a VR set, and I've been told so many times there's such a demand for VR content.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely, I think it's evolving. You know, I just don't have time to go look. Oh yeah, Winbush is talking about like NFTs.
Sure.
So I don't know. I think again, and that, you know what, the whole NFT things, I know everybody's got like their own opinions, but I'll tell you what's really cool about that is like you have 3D artists that are becoming famous. Like you have celebrity 3D artists. Like what planet do we live on? How, like we're evolving. So I think the platforms are going to change as we change. As I think that is actually based on the way we live and operate with our environment. Because like if we're always glued to a phone, or we're always glued to like a computer, I mean, that's basically where it's going to be distributed, right? So
sure.
I mean, you have to, it's based on your behavior. So are we going to go to movies? Like, I mean, is that like still an option? Like, I think that's going to evolve. And I think it's probably going to be like some 8-year-old kid's going to invent something. And like, you know, that's how it always is.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that there seems to be a large demand for VR content. I feel like VR is still in such an infant stage that it hasn't there hasn't been a good hook for wide like commercial adoption, right? Like my mom isn't going to buy a VR headset. You know, she's going to watch TV, and so I don't know. I that was unexpected. Where are you seeing the demand for VR?
Where am I seeing the demand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so obviously, like you're like, if I asked my mom to put them on, she'd say it's going to give me a headache. But let's just say like they were like, hey, guess what? Avatar 5 is going to be on a VR headset. Everyone's going to buy one. How would they make it that way, right?
Sure.
But it really depends on like what content is on there. First of all, like maybe you haven't created content that is engaging enough for people to want to use it, right? Well, that's part of the issue, maybe. I have seen examples like inside of Unreal projects where someone sent me like a VR project, and I'm like, man, I really want to buy one of those things and like go into a different world. And I also think there's a little more intimacy when you're engaging. I have a feeling we're going to be meeting up with people in VR. Like that's where I'm seeing it. So I guess the sooner they make them like more, I guess, cheaper and more accessible, they're eventually going to become like owning a phone, right? Sure. So that process needs to like hurry up. But until then, like this is it. So, but content,
well, I think
there's always a demand.
I'm interested to see some VR stuff outside of like game VR.
Same.
And I don't know, for either game or non-game VR, definitely see there's an opportunity. Like Steam has their own, Valve has their own headset, and they have their own distribution system. Like maybe they'll eventually have a VR movie segment to Steam, or maybe Epic will come up and say, well, in the Epic launcher now, a new category in the marketplace is, VR movies, and it's, you'll have an export from Unreal, and then you can just publish it to the marketplace. I think there's definitely some possibilities for people to do something there. Feel like everyone's in a state of like waiting for someone to make the right thing, and like no one knows what that is yet. So someone just needs to get out there and start making things.
Because you mentioned the like Unreal, and then it just occurred to me too that with a combination of all the tools we have, could you imagine a VR movie where you could move around what's going on during the movie, and then see okay, so in a film you'll jump to different storylines.
I like how you're like trying to figure this out right now.
Yeah.
Well, but imagine being able to, okay, you're in the bank robbery scene and the bad guys are in there.
Cool.
But you could fly through the wall and then go see what's happening with the cops at that same time. You pause it, you fly over there, you start the movie up, and now you're seeing the movie from a totally different perspective. Because like the video games are kind of that way. Things are happening whether your character is seeing them or not, in a way. And so that would be really neat. Not necessarily, it'd still be somewhat passive, but because like you don't want to get into an interactive movie where you're messing with the storyline and stuff. But to be able to experience a story, right, from different perspectives by simply moving through the world, or inhabiting a different character in the movie. Like, oh, I'm going to see it from the bad guy's point of view. What has he been doing this whole time that the superhero has been training and stuff? What's the bad guy been doing this whole time? Stuff like that. I think is I don't know. That just was very cool. It sounded neat.
I know what you're saying. It would change the way VR experiences are made. So a new pipeline would have to be developed. And the experience, I would say, it does have to be somewhat interactive, where you do have a little control over like how the story is told. That is like next level, So maybe that's like like you said, we're waiting for someone to create something, Well,
you're right.
Here's some inspiration, maybe.
Yeah, and that has been on my mind too. Is like there hasn't been that tipping point, that one thing that really draws everybody to the platform. And that, I agree with Kelly that like I feel like that's the breath that's being held right now. Is like there has to be, the Titanic movie, or there's got to be that something that draws. Oh my God, you have to get a VR headset. You have to experience this. And man, I'm excited to see that happen as well. I think. Again, it's just another facet of us being right on this edge of such a crazy new world of consumption, or content creation and consumption. It's going to be really cool.
It's like that quote I heard just the other day: "The only thing holding you back is your imagination." Okay?
And I think that's true, especially for people who are interested and wanted to just kind of dive into it. It's just kind of go for it.
Yeah, you got all the tools now. You just need a computer. That's the first step. Like you can't do it on you can do it on a Mac, but
if you've got days enough to wait for it to render.
As long as you're not trying to do anything too visually intensive.
Actually, I did see Unreal has a fellowship every year, and I did recently, just the other day, watch a submission that was made with a Mac, and it was actually really good. Yeah.
Wow.
So, again, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
Nothing holding you back.
That's super cool. Yeah. Actually, I want to kind of take a step back again. So if you've got the good computer, there's got to be another step to it. Is it like a camera? And
you need the courses. You definitely need the classes. You need someone to like walk you through how to use the engine for what you want. And like make it in a way where you can understand it and it clicks. Like I was doing all these games and I was like the game tutorials. I was like, how am I going to create with this? Like after I finished the course and it was like, this is how you do everything. I was like, cool, I want to make something now. You know, like that's what you want to get to. And then you could kind of decide. I don't know. Some people like the whole camera thing, like green screen and stuff. But here's what I learned with mocap, which is why like I kind of went in that direction. You can make an amazing set. Like you can make a beautiful map. And I love some of the environmental art. I wish I had focused on that more. But what if you can't put anybody in it? You know what I mean? Like, so you want to either put a real person in or you want to put like a CG character in. So like, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, but it just kind of like, I don't know. It kind of unfolds each step you take. With the MetaHumans, it's like literally like, we just want to get it to work and look beautiful. Like that's the goal right now. Like, let's just get it.
Yeah.
And get it. And then the whole rendering, that's a whole other story. Like, yeah.
Right. With the MetaHumans thing. So last week, Kelly showed us with the faceware, and I think there was we mentioned another couple different softwares that kind of do the same thing. Is it necessary to have that extra bit? Okay.
Pretty sure at the moment you need some kind of middleware like faceware to take the video feed and translate it into animation Unreal. I don't think Unreal has a native way of doing that at the moment.
Okay. But otherwise, you could manually edit
face. So for face, okay, you have the control rig board, the face control rig board. And I've actually been going through the whole thing every night, and I'm just like, I'm almost done with the mouth. I'm making an animation manually with each and every point, and it's so, you have to do this. Like, it's addicting because it's just so beautiful how the face moves. Like when you move the lips up, like the eyes, they have this post-process set up. It's like AI, you know, where it's like, oh, when the person smiles, like the eyes kind of squint and the nose over here. It's crazy. Like, so I mentioned this because then you have the Apple AR kit, and that is like on your iPhone. Like literally, you have an iPhone. Like you turn it on, you activate the app, which is free, and you go into a MetaHumans project, and you change the blueprint for the face, and then boom, you're seeing like your face move around. Now it's not as clean as I would say like what Kelly got with the faceware, and that's due to the fact that how, and honestly that might change because I know that they're getting Unreal Engine 5 and they might be updating the Apple AR kit, and you might be able to calibrate, making it more accessible to like literally anybody, you know, who's just like, oh, you know, I don't have time to like do all this stuff. I'll just turn my phone on and just do some tests. But that's the Apple AR kit. And if you want to see like how far you can push the Apple AR kit, look at Alvaro Garcia stuff. Like it's nuts. Like honestly, I was like, I'm done in this industry. Like I'm just gonna go something else to do. Like you nailed it. Yep. But then you have Faceware, and Glassbox made a plugin that communicates from Faceware to Unreal Engine, and the magic is in that blueprint. And I'll kind of be going over it as well. And yeah, it's just, you know, it's that's another option. You have like Dynamis, which I don't really know much about. And I'm sure there's going to be some more facial motion solutions as well. Like, yeah, so.
I mean, all this has come out like pretty rapidly too. So like, I'm sure we're going to start seeing more people jumping onto this bandwagon because everyone's talking about MetaHumans, motion capture. Like, it's very early on in this life cycle.
Yeah. You're talking about the VR stuff. You're like, yeah.
It is. It's really cool to be at this point in history. There's so many incredible things going on. I mean, whether it's machine learning and AI, which all ties back to like this MetaHuman stuff and the VR and man, just everything from filmmaking to game development. It's all. Oh, it gives me goosebumps to see just that it isn't. You don't have to go. You don't have to spend 4, 5, 6 years in college. You don't have to get approval from a big studio. Like people are making AAA quality content with little more than a cell phone. And
a lot of talent. Like you gotta love what you do.
Yeah.
Like you can't just be like some kid is like, you have to really like want it. You know
sure.
what I mean?
I just love seeing how easy it is now for people who have that sort of creative idea, who have an inspiration, a story to tell, a thing they want to do and make, and it's so easy to just get it out there.
Yeah, we're at the point where passion is the most important tool. Like if you have the passion, you can make something happen. And if you don't, then it's going to be tough. But yeah, get the passion for it and you'll make something cool.
I dig it. It's so neat.
You have it, Houston. You definitely have it. Like
I
a headset and a MetaHuman, and like leave them alone for a little bit.
I like seeing the creativity of others and enabling the creativity of others. I've dabbled in it and myself, and I found that it's not for me. It's fun live content. This is where it is for me. I love this part of things, and
get to do all the work, and then you're like, oh, cool, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's the hype man that everyone needs in their corner.
100%. I get so jazzed when other people get jazzed, and seeing seeing you were saying it's in just the span of a few months. Like, look how far you've come, and it's amazing. How cool is that?
Honestly, like every day I'm like, oh my God, like this is Unreal. Like learning Unreal has been like living in a dream. Like that's what it feels like. It's surreal. Like I finally found like what I love, and it's crazy, because like why can't you love it? Like there's no reason not to.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect. I think that is actually the perfect thing to end the show on, because we are a little bit over our hour, and so I say, like they say on Top Gear, on that bombshell, we'll end it here. Thank you so much, Gabby, for joining us today. This has been outstanding talking with you.
So much
it's
fun.
Very exciting.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, this is great. Is there any last shout outs you want to do? Anything you want to say to the audience at large before we go?
I just wanted to like, hi mom, thank you. She's been there for me. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And Kelly, thank you as well for taking your time out of your day and joining us for our stream today. And as always, thank you to the audience as well. We do this every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific on the YouTube channel here. We bring in, we have experts like Kelly and experts like Gabby coming in to talk about, everything from content creation workflows to the crossover of hardware and software, the tips, tricks, advice, anything you'd like to know or talk about in these various industries that we serve. Mark your calendars for every Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific. And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye,
everybody.